Welcome to the MLB Whiparound podcast, along with Dontrell Willis and AJ Przinsky. I'm Chris Myers. On this episode, we discuss the Cubs and Indians battling in a rematch of the 2016 World Series. We're going to break down which team has the best chance to make it back to the Fall Classic. And with all the attention on the AL East falling on the Yankees and Red Sox, are the Blue Jays being overlooked? Plus, Ohtani looking for a bounce-back performance. The Angels continuing their big series in Houston. We saw the good and the bad of Ohtani tonight.
And the one thing I noticed watching his start was his body language, especially when he struggled the last start and this start today. It sends message to both dugouts. One, in your dugout, that you're not comfortable and you're not confident. And in the opposing dugout, you lack confidence. So for me, I just think that he needs to work on that, and he will through time. But you see Maldonado coming out there and talking to him and trying to calm him down, but he needs to learn how to do that by himself. But when his back was against the wall, going up against one of the best hitters in the game in Altuve, he made the pitches he needed to. So this is a good start where he can build off of and really just go out there and not worry so much, but just go out there and compete. So I'm real proud of him that he did that.
Well, he needs to throw his off speed. You saw all the hits they were getting. They were all on fastballs. His fastball is 100 miles an hour. Guys will turn that around in a second. Right. Big league hitters can hit fastballs. But he went to the split. He threw a lot more sliders tonight than I had seen in his previous start. So that was an adjustment. Maybe because of the blister. I don't know. I couldn't throw a split. You didn't really throw a split, but maybe his finger pressure, whatever it is. But he was throwing sliders tonight. And back, you saw those Altuve pitches. There were sliders that he was buckling from. They hadn't seen that yet. So maybe that's an adjustment. But the fastball, 100 miles an hour, as straight as it is, guys are going to whack that, and they did. But he went to the slider and got out of some big jams.
5 of the 6 hits were off fastballs that he threw.
And this is a tough lineup, and they saw that he didn't have command. And after a while, you get tape on him. They saw the last start that he didn't have command of the split, so they just let it pass.
Well, the Red Sox just didn't swing at it. They just were like, oh, 2 strikes, we're just not going to swing. And then he'd get into trouble, and you'd have to throw the fastball. So he did make an adjustment. The Astros watched. They made an adjustment. It's a game back and forth. But guys talk in the dugout, like you said, hey, this guy can't throw a split for a strike. Eliminate it. This guy can't throw a slider for a strike. Eliminate it.
He can hit right now if he eliminate those pitches right now. He can hit.
No. If I can face like Tim Wakefield throwing knuckleballs, I can hit that.
Ohtani, 4th start off the hook in that game. The second-place Blue Jays closing some ground in the East. They're a story. Have we overlooked Toronto in the first month of the season?
Well, I think because Donaldson being out, Tulowitzki being out, I think people said, well, you know, Toronto, they're not going to be able to do it. They're pitching Estrada, Sanchez, Stroman struggled a little bit, but their bullpen's been amazing. Right. Best bullpen ERA in the major leagues right now. And the other guys, people you forget about. Granderson, he did it all. Home runs, big hits, throwing a guy out of the plate. Steve Pearce has stepped up. All these guys that people have kind of forgot about. Diaz, their shortstop, filling in for Tulowitzki. These guys have all stepped up and made contributions. Their numbers might not be great, but they get big hits, and especially in Toronto, it's a tough place to play. Yeah. So for them to win the first game of the series against the Red Sox, who they're chasing, huge statement. They win this series. You might see the Blue Jays start to gain traction, and they could be there at the end.
They're very athletic. They can defend. They can score runs, and they have solid starting pitching. And we're waiting for Stroman to get going. And once he gets going and he's able to get the ball down, this is a formidable team. I think they're going to make some noise in the East.
And an emotional win for Toronto this evening. What's the psyche of Matt Harvey, a free agent at the end of the year? He wasn't effective as a starter. How does his attitude affect what he's doing now?
Well, he has to make a decision either for himself and for his career. Does he want to play baseball? Especially this is his free agent year. Does he have the stuff? Can he humble himself, and can he teach himself how to reinvent himself and really pitch? He doesn't have the life that he once had. He doesn't have the command. So this is a good situation to learn about himself and really try to figure out how to get big league hitters out.
Well, if he wants to go somewhere else, he better pitch well out of the bullpen, because if he doesn't pitch well out of the bullpen, he's going to be stuck there, and eventually they'll just get tired of him and be like, well, we can't get anything for him. We'll just kind of DFA him, let him go. Be a huge story in New York, but right now the only story about Matt Harvey is why is he not pitching so well? Right. His arm action doesn't look the same. It looks very mechanical. I know they made some adjustments, but he needs to get back to free. It was so free and easy when he came up. Now it's like, it's almost like it's like stuck.
I think he's thinking too much on the mound, and I think he cares about what other people think, and that's a situation.
Well, you can't do that.
Yeah, you need to just go out there and compete the best way you can, but it's going to be tough to go out to that bullpen because he's never done that before.
Yeah, this is a mild change of scenery. There might be a bigger change of scenery coming for Harvey in time. Saturday doubleheader on FS1. Diamondbacks take on Bryce Harper in the Nationals, 4 Eastern. Then Aaron Judge and the Yankees take on Mike Trout and Ohtani. That's at 8 Eastern. It happens Saturday on FS1, always streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Who has a better chance of getting back to the World Series sooner, the Indians or the Cubs?
The Cubs. If we're talking get to the World Series, it's the Cubs. Just because the National League I think is a little bit down. Arizona has the best record going right now. But the rest of the teams there, LA is vulnerable. Right. In the East, the Nationals are down. Or is anyone counting on the Mets? But the Indians division, if you're just talking get to the postseason, the Indians division is where it's at. They're going to get to the postseason. The Tigers are in second place. Your Tigers are in second place right now. So the Indians are going to get to the postseason, but to get to the World Series, the Indians got to go through Houston, possibly Anaheim, the Yankees, the Red Sox. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the AL that can stand up to the Indians, and we saw it happen last year. So World Series, Cubs, postseason, I'm betting on the Indians.
They'll heat up, especially their offense. The weather will get a little better over there in Cleveland, but I love this rotation when you're able to throw quality, and they have consistently the last couple of years have one of the best bullpens in all of baseball.
So you think Cleveland could get back there?
I think they can, especially and Francona's done a great job, and they're used to playing in tight-knit ball games, and runs come to a premium, especially in the postseason. Terry Francona's done an amazing job over there. This team, this group, they can score 12 runs in a week and win 4 of those ball games.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
The problem is that their pitching is so much pressure on them. Their pitching, they have to give up 2 runs a game because they haven't scored all year, and that was the thing that got them last year. They didn't score enough runs. So unless they get Brantley, Lindor, Ramirez, those guys going, Encarnacion, we got to get the parrot going around the bases. Right. They just haven't scored enough runs. I mean, their pitching's great. Don't get me wrong. They need Salazar back. They need Miller and those guys at the back end to not get overworked. But for me, I mean, the Indians are going to be in the postseason, don't get me wrong. But the Cubs have a better path to the World Series.
I like that Kluber-Carrasco combo.
They're nasty.
No matter what. The National League East with the Mets and the Phillies and the Braves all have winning records. Surprisingly, the Nationals are the ones that are below 500. And the Marlins, well, Dontrell, they're the Marlins. But how does this division stack up? Notice I'm going to gloss right over that. Best divisions in baseball, top to bottom, where would you start?
For me, it's the AL West. You have the defending champs in Houston. You have the A's who are better than people think. You have the Mariners who are trying. You have the Angels who are right there. And then you have the Rangers who are trying to win, but they're not tanking. They're not the Marlins, okay? But they're just not getting it done because they have so many injuries and guys banged up and this and that. But for me, it's the AL West, top to bottom. Anytime you have the champs, then you have the Angels with all their additions they made, the Mariners who have a good team that no one talks about as long as their pitching stays healthy, Felix and Paxton, the A's who are sneaky, and the Rangers. The Rangers and Marlins are a wash for me, but for me, it's the AL West.
I like the NL East, especially the way they have the power arms. You have Syndergaard, you have DeGrom, you have Arrieta, you have Max Scherzer, and they have talented in the positions for all these teams but my Marlins. So everyone's trying in that division. They're definitely going to battle with each other, and a lot of these guys on these teams are going to be there for a long time. So the NL East is going to be a competitive division for a long time.
But are you counting on the Braves being there at the end?
I believe so.
You think they're going to be there at the end?
I believe so.
You think the Phillies are going to be there at the end?
Not with Cap there.
No,
with Cap there. We got to keep Cap out of it. We got to keep Cap out of it. I love him, but we got to keep him out of it.
But honestly, do you think the Mets are going to be there at the end?
I believe as long as they're able to stay healthy, and I know we've said that year after year. I know we said that, but they're a veteran ball club. But, I mean, do you think the Mariners are going to be there?
I do.
There's no way.
The Mariners at the end. I'm going to go Frank Thomas on you. The Mariners at the end of the year will have a better record than the Braves.
You want to bet a butter cake?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Okay. We can put a Dungeness crab on that, too. We can double down on that.
All right. I think that.
And I love Seattle, but, they always say that we're always waiting for them to break out, and they have talent, but they never come around, especially with the rotation.
Well, and every division has a bottom dweller that's really just, there's very little hope. But I'll tell you, the American League East top 3 teams with the Red Sox, Yankees, and we talked about the Blue Jays, at least in the upper half.
Yeah, but there's 2 bottom dwellers in there.
Yeah, I know. That's a rough division. For our final pitch, and Dontrell, we'll start with you.
For me, it's Shohei Ohtani. Showed tough perseverance today. He wasn't his best, but he went up against a tough Houston Astros lineup, and when his back was against the wall, he was able to execute pitches and keep the ball game intact. So that's something he can build off of and get confidence from, especially being able to go on the road against the world champions.
Yeah, it was an interesting start in his 4th career start. Meanwhile, the Brewers continuing to roll.
They're hot. Break up Bernie Brewer right now. He's sliding down the slide. They're hitting home runs. Their bullpen hasn't given up a run in the 7-game winning streak. They're outscored their opponents 39-12 in those 7 games. They're banging the ball. The bullpen's been tough. And Lo Cain went back to Kansas City, his spot, back-legged him, ran around the bases yelling at the whole other team. Like, you guys miss me yet? Waving to the fans, giving the fans this, cheer for me.
Show me my money. That's
they cheered for him, and he hit the home run, they booed him. But good for him, good for Lo Cain. And the Brewers, everyone thought there was a sneaky pick. They're doing it right now. They're proving us all right.
And that'll do it for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure to catch MLB Whiparound weeknights at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on FS1. And we thank you for listening.